Ducklett. Now there's a Pokemon whose lunch got eaten by Quaxley. Ducklett has the problem that some Pokemon do, that it is functionally indistinguishable from just being, a normal animal, stylized in a cartoony art style. Pokemon design at its best rides the thin line between being plausible as an animal while still clearly being somehow fantastical, and Ducklett just isn't fantastical. It just looks like a blue duck. The idea seems to be that the fluffy pants that it's wearing approximate the shape of a swim belt or something to that effect, but to me it just really just looks like normal feathers. The evolution, Swanna, comes off a lot better, mixing the look of a mute swan with the long beak of a heron, and adding a little bit of personality with a judgmental hands-on-hip pose, and oddly, what essentially looks like a blue feather bra on its chest. Swanna, unfortunately, is also one of those Pokemon that got absolutely hosed by the transition to 3D because the games defaulted to all flying Pokemon having flying animations, and that killed Swanna's pose and robbed it of half of its personality. Setting that aside, in its actual base design, Swanna manages a really nice balance between looking gracefully swan-like and looking kind of campy and over the top with some good personality, and it makes for an honestly really nice design. Which leads me to a niggle that I have. We have a duck that evolves into a swan, and that has to be a reference to the ugly duckling story, right? Like, if this isn't happening on purpose, then that's a really dumb thing for Game Freak not to notice that they were doing. But if it is on purpose, then Ducklett also has the additional problem that it really ought to be a lot uglier and less appealing and less cute, because right now, as it stands, the reference to the ugly duckling just doesn't work. And sure, maybe they weren't trying to reference the ugly duckling, but if you make a duck evolve into a swan, that's how a big portion of humanity is inevitably going to interpret it, and failing to account for a very common interpretation of what you're doing is also bad character design.